Now let's look at rate. A ratio compares two quantities, but a rate compares two quantities that have different units of measure. So it's really just a special type of ratio. Now remember to pause the video to take notes. Listen to what I say, then pause it and write it down. Don't try to write it down while I'm talking. Wait until I've explained something, then pause it and write it down. Okay, let's look at an example we've used before. If we're looking at my garden and we're comparing the number of tomatoes to the number of peppers, this is a ratio. I'm comparing two different quantities, but they don't really have units to them. It's a number of tomatoes to a number of peppers. So they're both just counting how many I have of each. So they're not really a rate, they're a ratio. But let's look at something that is a special kind of ratio called a rate. Let's say soda costs $1.98 for a 2-liter bottle. Now this one, our units would be dollars. This one, our units would be liters. So they have two different units of measure. And so since they have two different units and we're going to compare them, we're going to call that a rate. So let's look at how we do this. My rate is going to be the price over the number of liters. Now what was my price? $1.98. And how many liters did I have? 2 liters. Whenever I'm working with ratios or rates, I like to put in words. I like to put the words out on the side. Even because when I do equations with these or when I'm trying to figure things out about my ratios, I want to make sure I'm always putting price on the top, number of liters on the bottom, or whatever my two quantities are. Like I would write tomatoes over peppers next to my ratio. I write price over number of liters by my ratio. Now it's important with a rate that you're going to show these units because that's part of what a rate does, is it compares two different kinds of units. Now I want you to try. Something, let's say it costs $3 to get 4 cupcakes. Look at the way we did the rate for the soda. You figure out the rate for the cupcakes. Pause the video and try that now. Okay, let's see how you did with that rate. What you should do is we're going to write it in words first. So you're going to put the price for the number of cupcakes. And see, this is going to be in dollars. This we're going to be counting in numbers. So they're really different types of quantities, different units of measure. So it'll be a rate. So I have $3 over 4 cupcakes. So it's $3 for 4. Did you get that right? Now let's look at what a unit rate is. This may sound complicated, but it's really not. All the unit rate is the rate or comparison that has 1 unit in the denominator. So if I had, that would be like if I said, an example might be if a truck gets 20 miles per 1 gallon of gas. So 20 miles to get the gallon, that's 20 miles to 1 gallon, 20 miles per gallon. And that's going to be a unit rate because I have 1 gallon here on the bottom. Now, how do we figure out a unit rate? That's not really that hard either. What we're going to do, we're going to use our scaling. If I started with the price and the number of liters, back to this soda example, what I'm going to do is use scaling to reduce this so that I have 1 on the bottom. So I'm going to divide both by 2. And that is going to give me, if I go over here on the side and do $1.98 divided by 2. 2 doesn't go into 1. I put my decimal here. 2 goes into 19 9 times. 18. Subtract, I get 1. Bring down my 8. And 2 goes into 18 9 times. So it is 99 cents. So I can write that like this, over 1 liter. So it's 99 cents per liter. That is my unit rate. Now, you try that one. Try to find the unit rate for the cupcake example. Pause the video and see how you do. Okay, let's see how you did on the cupcake example. If you started with $3 for 4 cupcakes, then I would divide both of these by 4. Now, if you look at that, all I'm really doing, $3 to 4 cupcakes, I'm really just doing the division problem. I'm doing 3 divided by 4. Because if I do this, I get 3 divided by 4. I'm going to go over on the side. Now be careful. Don't always put the larger number under this. You want to read it as the way you're dividing it. 3, so you put that down first and then put this on top, divided by 4. A lot of people make the mistake of doing 4 divided by 3. You are not doing this. That is not correct, because we're doing 3 divided by 4. And you could read it this way too, 3 divided by 4. So if I do that, this is going to go in 7 times. 7 times 4 is 28. Subtract, I get 2. Bring down my 0. 4 goes into 25 times, and it is 75 cents for 1 cupcake. They are 75 cents each. Now, you may look at it either of these ways. Either as, when you start with this, 3 divided by 4, just do the division. Or if it's easier for you to see it as scaling, that you're just dividing both by the denominator, then you can do it this way. But either way, you should come up with a unit rate of 75 cents for 1 cupcake.